So this is our ERP and this is our route planner. Okay, so before I'm going to explain you about our route planner and our auto route optimizer, we need to kind of a brush up or revisit our concepts of about the route, about adding a customer or warehouse. We are going to use this at a time of demo. So just to reassure, I'm explaining again. So let's take route first. So at the time when you are adding a route or updating, you can actually give the start time and the end time. This is the time for any route we will be considering for all our calculations. Okay, and if you are not giving any time, okay, is it like in this case, we will be considering 8 a.m. is the default time for our calculations. Okay, now let me show you. Just customer thing. Let's take one customer here. Let me show you. Uh, okay, so this is our delivery. Okay, so here you can see that we have a typical service time. So let's say in this case, if you are not giving any specific service time to this customer, okay, that means whenever driver is going, you're not aware of how much time driver is going to take to serve this customer. But maybe with your experience, you know that for this customer, the typical service time is 20 minutes. So you can add the time, and for all our calculations, we will consider this time. Okay. Uh, Now about our warehouse and branches. So this is a warehouse. So you think in this way, whatever the address of your warehouse, that will be the point from which we will do all the calculation for our distance. Okay, so this is the kind of a starting point for all our deliveries. So this was all about some concept which we are going to use in this. Now let's go back to route planner. Okay, so for demo purpose, I have created a couple of orders for you, and let me show you this. So right now, I have altogether 9 routes and around 20 to 25 orders. But as I told you that here you can do manual and automatic or mix and match of both. While you're doing planning. So let's say in this case, I am picking maybe first 6 routes for my automatic planning, and these 3 I don't want to be part of that, which maybe I can use later for my manual planning. So I can just uncheck it. Integrates with your order management system, get all the orders, assign them optimally to different routes and based on rules predefined by you. Finally, dispatch them to different drivers and orders show up on driver's mobile app. All this can happen 100% automatically without requiring any manual intervention. Okay, so let's start with the auto route optimizer. So you can see we have one icon setting icon here and one optimize across route icon here. Why we have this? Because actually we give this liberty to our customers that if they want to utilize this auto route optimizer option, they can use it. If they don't want, they can uncheck it. So for that we have a company level settings. You can go to settings and you can check we have this setting called enable optimize allocation of stops to all route. Okay, as this was enabled, there was 2 buttons, one for setting and one for optimizing all routes. In case you don't want this and you want to just go for a regular way of route planning, you can check that. Okay, now you can notice that now I don't have that auto route optimizer settings button here, and also the link is gone, which was actually responsible for optimizing all the routes. Okay, but in this video we have to see the settings. Okay, enable optimize allocation first of all route. Check this and save. So now we are ready to go to route planner and just check how our auto route optimizer is working. Okay, you can go to this. Now we have a couple of more important points here to discuss. Like one is this default service time. As I told you, for at a customer level, you can define typical service time. And what does it mean is your customer, that for customer A the typical service time is 30 minutes, for customer B maybe just a 5 minute. So accordingly you can give this typical service time at a customer level. But in case you are not aware of, or you haven't set that values, so system will consider that value as 0, and for our all calculation you can take a average service time for your each of customer. So in this case, if you're taking this maybe just example for 20 minutes, so what will happen for all the customers, even for some you have already given some time, maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 30, or maybe for others is 0. But if you're providing these values here, system will consider this as a default service time for all the calculations. Okay, and this is vehicle type. Definitely, like each type of vehicle cannot go to each route, so you can select what type of vehicle you are using for all this optimization. Okay, and this is the route allocation constraints. Okay, so maybe you want to have a constraint that maximum stop per route, like in this case for route number 6 we have 2 stops, for this also 2 stops, for 3. Okay, maybe you want to define that for each of my route I want to have maximum of 3 stops, okay, per route. So you can give this constraint and you can try to achieve all these objectives. Okay, maybe you want to say that for each route the maximum distance should not cross 50, sorry my bad, okay, 50 kilometer. Okay, so or maybe this one you say that for each route the driving time should not exceed maybe 2 hours. Okay, so these all the constraints which as per your company, like the way your company is functioning, or all the number of drivers or van or whatever constraint you have, you can apply them, and then accordingly you can just optimize the route. Okay, so in this case let's start with the first objective, and I'm not putting any value as of now, and eventually in this video I will show you if when we start putting some constraint how these objectives are giving us a result. So let's go to this minimize routes used. So that right now I have a 6 routes here. Okay, and if I apply this settings with minimize route use, and I know the answer, like the minimum number out of 6 is 1. So what system will do, system will basically assign all these order to one route, because that's what I wanted, right? I want that minimize the routes, and the system minimize the route for me, and this is the optimization result. So the total distance this driver has to cover is 164.24 kilometer. Okay, and he has to drive altogether for 3 hours and 39 minutes. Okay, and for him the ETA is around yep 12:39 he will finish the entire job. Okay, if he's starting for 9 a.m. So that's why I told you, when at the time of defining the routes, whatever the starting time for this route you're giving, we will do the calculation based on that time, and all the distance calculation from your warehouse. Okay, so this you can see from here. Okay, so this is your warehouse, and we are doing all calculations from this point. Okay, and if you have a multiple warehouse assigned to different routes, the calculation will happen accordingly. If you want, you can see the all names also, like whom you are going to serve and everything. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so after this optimization, the good part with this system is that it not just do the optimization for you. You can see the detailed view of that optimization result. So in this case, right now, what you can see for this particular stop, the distance he is going to cover is 1.63 kilometer. Drive time is just a 4 minute for him. The ETA is 12.17 minutes, and he's starting at 12:17 and reaching. Okay, so I know that you can notice here the service duration is actually null here. The reason is that for this particular customer, maybe I have not assigned any typical service time, and at the same time, when I was doing this optimization, I didn't give any value to default service time. So which is not practically true. So let's do one thing. I'm giving one 20-minute service time to each customer, and now doing this. Okay, so now you will notice for each customer the service duration system is considering as a 20-minute. Okay, so when it's a 20-minute, so accordingly that time is calculated for this route and for this driver, and now this is 11 hours and 19 minute job for him to complete this entire assigned work, which includes the driving and serving the customers. Okay, you will notice the distance is the same. It's just addition of your service time. Okay, now let's go to the second one. Minimize combined driving time for all routes. Okay, so for that, maybe I want that none of my drivers should drive more than maybe 2 hours. Okay, I'm giving this constraint, and I have like 20 minutes as a default service time, and I want to actually minimize the driving time for all route. Minimize. Okay, so right now total is around 11 hours of job, and I'm putting a constraint that one route should not exceed 120 minutes. Okay, let me do this and optimize this for you. Okay, so now you will notice that system automatically assign all these orders to different routes, but that we gave driving time as 120, and we are minimizing this driving time for all route. Okay, so technically none of the route should take more than 2 hours, but in this case we can see it's a 4 hour and around 33 minutes, and this is 3 hours, and again this is 3 hours and plus some minutes. Why that is happening? Because system is again calculating this service time also. Okay, if I just remove this, okay, and again do this and do the okay, so now you can see that with the assumption that he's instantly reaching there and going back, we are meeting our constraint. It is 46-minute job. This is 1 hour 53, and this is 1 hour 2, and we are able to achieve this. Okay, let's move to another objective. Okay, so now we have the third one, which is called minimize combined completion time. Okay, so basically in this case, in the first case, we was minimizing the driving time. Okay, in the third one, actually we are doing both the driving time plus our the service time, which is kind of a completion time. So let's do one thing. Maybe we can check this with first we will check without any constraint. Okay, and I'm giving default service time is 20 minutes, which is just a standard here, and let me show you. Okay, so basically it just minimize the completion time for me, which is 12 hour and 12 minutes. Okay, now if I can put some constraints, something like, that I can have actually max 4 stops per route. So like in this case, all the routes are assigned to one, and I can click on done. And again, I'm taking consider service time for each system is 20. Okay, and you go ahead. Okay, so you have noticed that now system optimize with the constraint that each of my route can have maximum 4 stops. Okay, and they minimize the time. This is 2 hours, this is again 2 hours, this is 2 hours, and all, more or less like equally divided this. So it's looking like most optimized solution to me right now. Okay, now move to our fourth objective, which is like minimize the maximum completion time for all routes. Okay, so in this case, what system will do, it will just minimize the maximum completion time. So right now you can see it's a 2 hour 28 and 2 hour 49 and something like that. So as usual, I'm putting my service duration time here, or maybe I can have maximum of 4 route. Like I'm just taking these 4 only in this case, and I will try to minimize the maximum completion time. Now you can see system divided all the orders in such a way that it is minimize the time, the completion time for each route. It's almost like same time taken by this order. Now let's check the minimize the maximum number of stops allocated to route. So uh, as per the calculation, even I'm not putting this constraint, we know that we have around 6 routes, and I want to minimize the maximum number of stops. So my calculation says that it will equally divide all the routes, sorry, all the orders to these routes. But let's see at around. So this is correct. System automatically like divided all the orders equally in the routes. Okay, so which is actually like maximum number of stops allocated to any route, and we have minimized those. So like 4 for each in this file. We saw that in this case system tried to allocate minimum number of stops for each route. In case where you want to assign like around same amount of work to each driver, okay, you can use this. Now let's go to the balance the completion time and stop among all the routes. So it's like you want to make sure that the around same completion time for each route, and almost like the same number of stops it should take, which is like almost same as per our prior condition. So let's check now this, and so we have noticed we have 6 routes. So system actually like allocated almost same number of orders. Like in this case we have like 4 as to 3. But if you see the timing, like the completion time in all the cases are almost same. So this was all about our auto route optimizer. Okay, but as I told you that I can separately plan my other routes manually. So in this case, these are the routes which were not part of this optimization process. So I can uh, just plan them manually here. And also we discussed that for all the customers who actually do fast deliveries, for them like we have one settings here. let me just get rid of this. Which is like enable pick pack and load button on route planner, and I will also talk about just lock and unlock for this. Now try to save this. Okay, now let's go to the route planner, and now you will notice that just take example of this one. So this route number 2 is already optimized from our last action. Now I can just click on this button, which is like pick pack and load, and my all 4 orders will be like ready to get delivered. So in the single route is already optimized, and just one single click and the order is pick packed and ready to dispatch or deliver. Okay, so if I think that everything is perfect in this planning and route, I can even lock route here. So this was all about our route optimization. I hope I was pretty clear with what I explained, and thank you very much for watching this video.